The American Worker Rebate Act of 2025 may only be 14 pages long, but don't underestimate its impact. Inside this short bill are powerful changes that could put real money into your hands. Most people haven't read a word of it, but I've gone through every page. And I am breaking it down in plain English. I'll cover how much you could receive, who qualifies, what to watch out for, and the sneaky rule on page 7 that could change everything you thought you knew. Before we get started, imagine this. If $600 hit your account tomorrow, how would you use it? Groceries? A weekend away? A long overdue pizza night with the kids? Drop your answer in the comments. I read every one. And if you're into practical, hype-free money talk, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss future breakdowns. So, what is the American Worker Rebate Act? Some are calling it the Tariff Rebate Stimulus. At 14 pages, it's more like a pamphlet than a full bill, but it contains serious moves. On page 1, you get the usual congressional cover, but a key line jumps out. Congress plans to return tariff revenue collected after January 20, 2025, back to working families. In simple terms, the government takes in money from import fees and then redistributes part of that back to households. Just below that, the policy statement makes the goal even clearer. Tariffs should help everyday Americans, not just disappear into the federal budget. On page 2, the money numbers start showing up. Congress adds a new section to the tax code, 6428C. The headline figure is $600 per adult and $600 per qualifying child. But unlike past stimulus programs, this isn't a cap, it's a minimum. If tariff revenue exceeds expectations, the rebate can go higher. Think of it as a balloon tied to customs receipts. The more money collected at the border, the bigger the checks. It's a major departure from previous stimulus rounds, which always had fixed payout limits. Page 3 defines what money actually counts. Only duties collected after January 20, 2025, the day President Trump's new tariffs took effect, will fund this rebate. That creates a clean ledger. Old tariffs stay in the general budget. New ones go into the rebate pool. Treasury is also allowed to use projections instead of waiting on finalized numbers, so checks can go out faster. A big deal in an election year. Page 4 introduces the income phase-out. If your adjusted gross income exceeds $75,000 for single filers or $150,000 for married couples, your rebate begins to shrink by 5 cents for every extra dollar. For example, if you're single with an income of $95,000, your rebate disappears entirely. This design keeps the focus on middle-income households, where $600 can still make a meaningful difference. This page also lists who doesn't qualify. Non-resident aliens, dependents claimed by someone else, estates, and trusts, the same exclusions we saw during the 2020-2021 pandemic relief payments. Page 5 outlines how the payments will actually go out, and it's a game changer. Rebates will be based on your 2024 tax return, the most recent one the IRS has on file. This lets payments be processed early in 2025 without waiting for your next return. Even better, any account that received a federal payment since 2023 is eligible to receive the rebate. That alone could eliminate millions of paper checks and speed up the entire process. Page 7 contains a subtle but powerful fix for retirees. If you didn't file taxes in 2024, no need to panic. The IRS will fall back to your 2023 return. And if that's also missing, they can pull your Social Security 1099 form. Back in 2020, many seniors were almost left out of early relief rounds. Congress definitely wants to avoid that mistake again, so they set up a direct data link between the SSA and the Treasury. Quiet on the surface, this change could have a huge impact. On page 8, we learn that Treasury must send you a notice within 15 days of issuing a payment. It'll include the amount, date, and where the money went. Basically, a receipt. This page also introduces the requirement that everyone on a tax return must have a valid Social Security number. Adopted children can use temporary numbers for now, but this rule is designed to keep fraud in check. Page 9 continues with SSN requirements and adds a key carve-out for military families. If one spouse served in the military during the tax year, the couple qualifies even if only one has an SSN. This prevents the problems that blocked many mixed-status families from getting pandemic stimulus checks in 2020. Congress has learned from past mistakes. Page 10 deals with tax return corrections. It allows the IRS to automatically fix math errors tied to the rebate. That means if you accidentally claim too many kids or make a typo, the IRS can adjust your return without launching a full audit. It's basically a built-in spell check for your taxes. Something that could prevent serious delays. Page 12 shifts focus to the U.S. territories: Puerto Rico, Guam, the Virgin Islands, American Samoa, and the Northern Mariana Islands. Residents of these areas are covered. Since many don't file U.S. tax returns, the Treasury sends a lump sum to each local government, which then handles the distribution. This ensures parity across zip codes and avoids treating territorial citizens like second-class taxpayers. This page also adds the rebate to the permanent refund budget line, which allows payments to continue year after year without needing a new congressional vote. As long as tariff money keeps flowing. On page 13, we get to the crowd favorite. The rebate cannot be taken for unpaid federal debts, overdue child support, or back taxes. If you're behind on payments to Uncle Sam, he'll wait. Also, if Treasury accidentally sends you too much, you won't owe interest when they claw it back. Finally, this page gives the Treasury broad authority to create rules and close loopholes without waiting on Congress, a kind of legal duct tape for real-world problems. So, what does this mean in dollars? The baseline is $600 per adult and child. Let's look at two examples. Business owners may be wondering if they qualify. If you're a sole proprietor filing a Schedule C and your net income is below the limit, you're eligible. Partnerships and S-Corp income is passed through to your personal return. Same rules apply. However, C corporations don't qualify. The rebate is for individuals only. People in Puerto Rico, like Jorge, might wonder if they need to file a federal return. Probably not. Puerto Rico's Treasury will likely release a local form, just as they did for the child tax credit last year. Stay tuned to local news outlets for instructions. One word of caution: whenever the government sends out payments, scammers follow. Watch out for fake texts, calls, or emails. The Treasury will not ask for your bank login or send you clickable links. They'll use the same direct deposit method as your last payment or mail you a paper notice within 15 days. Always on official letterhead. When in doubt, wait for the letter. So, when can you expect your money? If the bill passes soon, deposits could begin within weeks. Because the IRS is using 2024 data already on file, the process is faster. Congress gave Treasury until the end of 2026 to issue all payments, but early waves could go out quickly, just like they did during the pandemic. Of course, there are critics. Some argue that tariffs already raise consumer prices, so rebates just shift money from one pocket to another. Yale's Budget Lab estimates tariffs reduce household purchasing power by about $2,400 per year. A $600 rebate only replaces part of that. Supporters counter that tariffs help protect us jobs, and this rebate steers benefits to the middle class. Which view wins? It depends on whether your job is in a protected industry or whether your shopping cart is full of imports. One last question. Why $600 again? According to one Senate aide, it's a sweet spot. Meaningful, but not inflationary. It's roughly a week's worth of median take-home pay. Plus, Americans are familiar with $600 checks from the pandemic era, which makes the number feel familiar and legitimate. So, what should you do right now? First, check your 2024 AGI. If you're close to the income threshold, consider contributing to an IRA or HSA to reduce your taxable income. Second, confirm your direct deposit information with the IRS, especially if you changed banks this year. Third, make sure your mailing address is up to date with Social Security, if that's your main source of income. And finally, stay alert to scams. Now I want to hear from you. Would a $600 check make a real difference in your life? Or does it feel more symbolic? Drop a comment. I'm genuinely curious. And if you want more money breakdowns that keep things calm and clear, hit subscribe and share this with someone who'd appreciate a straight answer. I'll catch you in the next one.